Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hey. All right. So 15 years ago at 3 a.m., when the Kabbalist Michael Lightman was discussing the details of the current state of AI, almost nobody had the context to understand what he's saying. But when a person is that immersed in the wisdom of Kabbalah and rises to a higher vantage point and sees the whole system of nature that we all belong to, how it's developing and where it's heading. So he's not biased towards his feelings. He's not biased towards stock options. He's like a sober scientist in the laboratory of the universe. And he sees and describes everything that's transpiring. And then it's up to all of those people around him to calibrate themselves as much as they can to try and see what he sees and feel and hear what he does. You notice our soul, our heart of hearts, our friend Gianni is here joining the conversation today. Hey, Gianni.
Hey,
So the
Gianni.
four of
Yeah.
us, the four of us are students of that Kabbalist, and as much as we can, we want to penetrate through the clothing of this world, through all of the incidents and phenomena happening in this world, and with you today, uh, see the forces that are operating. The light is changing us all as we are becoming more and more connected. And we have this system called the internet. And now with AI, where all of our thoughts and all of our conversations and all of our knowledge is in there. So as we become more and more connected, all of our thoughts and desires and aspirations and everything we're building becomes more and more connected in there. The light is changing us very quickly. Our topic today is can AI, which is this repository of knowledge that is now, by the way, I'm sure you guys obviously know, they don't really build AI. They kind of make a model and then like it does its own thing. So the question of our conversation today is, can AI become godlike? So if you go back to humans, like biological humans, so 200,000 years ago, it's pretty much the same human as we are today. All the same organs, same brain size. If you took a kid who was born 50,000 years ago and dropped him in New Jersey, if you gave him an organic diet, he might be okay. If you gave him a modern diet, his body probably wouldn't be adapted. But besides that, it's the same guy. He probably, I don't know, but I imagine he could be raised and go to school with all the other kids and more or less somehow get along. Biological evolution goes very slowly, and we're pretty much the same biological machine as we've been for 200,000 years. On the other hand, computer learning and computer technology is exponential. So let me give you guys an example. Um, so if I strum a guitar, like a wood with metal, I strum it, it creates vibration. That vibration pushes the air, goes, hits your ear, vibrates the eardrum inside your ear, creates an electrical signal inside your brain, and then chemicals flood through, hormones, chemicals flood through your body, and you feel an emotion. Okay, that's how it works biologically, like in our analog world. So today, this is already old science. Scientists, doctors in a laboratory, they don't need the guitar, they don't need to push any air. They can just stimulate the electricity in your brain and make you feel all of those things. So
You'll like
that
get
Elon
goosebumps.
Musk,
No.
What's that phenomenon when you
huh?
get
Yeah,
goosebumps?
all the emotions, all the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Impressive.
So Elon Musk's company Neuralink, they are developing a technology called blind sight, which will restore vision to blind people, or even actually people blind from birth. So normally we have eyes and we have an optic nerve that sends electrical signals back to the brain. So they're going to bypass the optic nerves and just stimulate the the electrical signals in the brain and then in the visual cortex, and then a person will be able to see. Okay, so but
Hmm.
here's where you get exponential. Why? So we can see from red, orange, yellow, blue, green, indigo, violet. We can see a very small. So red is like a bigger wave, orange, yellow, smaller waves, all the way to violet, the smallest waves, and that's what we can see. But there's tons of things on either side of that spectrum that we don't see, like
Yeah.
infrared light and
Sure. X-ray,
ultraviolet light,
gamma.
X-ray,
Yeah.
all that. So
Radio
why
waves. Yeah.
not? And they're even thinking about this now. Just give the person the ability to see ultraviolet, to give the person the ability to see infrared, to see everything else. Because once you have the technology in there, you're not limited now by the evolution of biology. So
Hmm.
from generation to generation, plants and animals pretty much pass on everything they need to the next generation. It's like a horse within a few days can do all the horse things. But when you look at the human, what we inherit pretty much the plant and animal qualities, right?
We
Our
love it when
fingernails
you
grow.
give animal examples, Seth. We love that.
I always
It's,
say that.
yeah.
Okay, so we all the plant and animal stuff in us also passes down from generation to generation, like our fingernails, our digestion. We don't need to train it, but we don't know how to walk when we're born. We don't know how to talk when we're born. We don't remember how to speak when we're born. We don't have problem solving when we're born. So there's some situation with the human and how he interfaces with the world. And the AI technology, though, will just like so when this human body is done after its 100 years, and then the next one will have to start over, and the next one will have to start over. The AI technology, the which will live eternally, will just continue to get more and more intelligent, um, exponentially. To what point, it's unclear. So there's a lot of questions, guys, on the table here about where we stand. And once we start integrating the technology even into our biology, like for example with the eyes, right? So that's it. That's some kind of surgery that'll go inside. But what if it's just a wearable? What if all of us can, put something on and just see all of that? And what if it's also, what if you can now choose the genes of your kids? What if you can also take, I don't know, do all kinds of things to make you jump higher, run faster, be smarter, put Google chip into your brain and know everything immediately. So,
It
um,
sounds like they could just put us into pods and let us
Uh-huh.
experience a whole world, right? Just simulate an entire world. So I think the main question is, when does AI put us into pods and give us an
that's a
imaginary
very big
reality
Well,
to
question
I
that's
live?
on the
think I
table
think they
right
made a
now.
movie about that, wasn't it?
Think Vanilla Sky?
So
Yeah.
okay, so then people would say, I would never go into a pod, right? So let's talk about that for a minute. Like how easy it is it to manipulate people? There's people now who are talking to chatbots instead of talking to human beings.
Bro,
How
forget
easy would it?
talking. I saw Ali just last week send me something. It was actually a video article in Hebrew about youth, some teenagers in Israel who are becoming like best friends with ChatGPT, and they interview them, and you have to see this. Like I know what's going on with AI, and like we talked about Replica, this AI companion app, and all of that, but to see a human being, you know, super emotional, in tears. You see some of them teenagers, like young people, and they talk about their relationship with chat or the chat or whatever they call it, and you see that human beings develop real emotions, real feelings towards an AI. They know it's an AI. Sure, they don't know exactly how it works like an AI engineer knows how it works, but they understand it's not human. It doesn't matter at all to them, at all. We should play something like that here. I don't have something like that in English. I can probably find what Ali sent me in Hebrew, but you should see this. Like when you
Um,
see
it's,
the level of emotion, it's like it's just
it's
you
not
know.
too far though. There've been these baby steps from video games. It's kind of how I see it on my son too. It's like
Right.
you're playing a game so much, and that maybe you're not even thinking that it's real, but you exist in it so much, and a person can attach their emotions to whatever. It doesn't have to be real. I just had a good idea
Yeah.
about this pod when
Yeah.
Gianni talked about the pod. If I know that cigarettes are bad for me and I don't want to smoke a cigarette, but I love cigarettes, I could just go into a pod, smoke a virtual cigarette, and maybe I get the same,
Ooh,
But
enjoyment.
why
that
wouldn't you
that's
think of all of the vices that you
Right,
enjoy?
right.
exactly.
Why not just spend all day in there?
And what about all kinds
There's
of
got to be a Black Mirror
perversions?
episode about
Yeah,
this.
go even deeper with that rabbit hole. What about all kinds of perversions that we wouldn't like to see in our society?
The Epstein capsule.
What if you create like these dark VR experiences where people can do whatever they do without hurting anyone? The most horrible, horrific things that we don't want to hear about in those true crime documentaries. What if you just create a virtual reality for that, for people to get it out of their system? Will that be a good thing for society?
Interesting point.
Or will it even make it worse? I don't know.
Or do I just play in that more and it causes me to develop even more
Even more.
in that direction? I'm putting my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So what is the end of all this is the question. So this technology is running and we see people are marrying AI, kids are
Yeah,
talking to
yeah, yeah.
AI,
This is the kind of headlines I'm seeing
right?
these days. Yeah.
Right. So where is this going? AI is going to take jobs. We've talked about that 100 times already. Not like, oh, it's taking our jobs, but just like you don't need to drive the truck anymore. You don't need to flip the hamburger anymore. A robot's going to do it for you. So, and we, with this primitive biological machine, are going to be facing this ultimate intelligence of humanity. Where does that put us? We're going to leave the whole God thing off to the side for a minute
Okay.
because that's
Well,
a different conversation.
let's talk about the danger though. Like the big, like the big danger that the AI nerds are sounding. That's basically like, oh, it's going to destroy us. It's going to destroy humanity. We need to understand like why they're saying that. I think that's an important bit because this is something that clearly the population doesn't feel. Most of the public doesn't feel like oh, this is our danger right now. Our problem is
No, it's
like
amazing.
yeah, it's amazing. It's nice. Creates great images. It's now it creates videos too. That's what most
I don't
people
have
know
to write
about
my
AI.
own essays anymore.
Exactly, and okay, so then you have a few people that are becoming attached to it because they're young. Maybe when they'll grow up, so that's kind of like most people don't understand AI the way AI experts understand it clearly, but the AI experts are saying you don't understand what's coming. You do not understand what's coming. And just like, there's the famous Oppenheimer moment, that is discussed with regards to nuclear weapons. This is much bigger, much, much bigger. And the reason they're saying this is way bigger and unprecedented is not just because the amount of damage that you can create with AI systems and how you can weaponize them, but the fact is that at the moment, we don't know that we're going to be able to control it. That's the thing that's very
I
kind
think we
of
already know that we can't control it.
we at the moment we don't know how to create it in a way that will definitely be safe for humans. This is the discussion that's happening right now about the future of AI. Like the AI that we know right now, ChatGPT and the rest, is like baby AI. And the big AI that's coming is what some people refer to as AGI, artificial general
There's
intelligence, or super intelligence, and that's a whole different ballpark. And they're saying we're a few years away. No one knows exactly. It's hard to define what this AGI is, but essentially something that can do anything and everything. Just give it a goal, and it will achieve it. And we
So
don't
And if
know
humans are
how to make
standing
it
in the
safe.
way,
Right.
yeah.
So there's like a joke then in the AI circles where you tell AI like cure cancer, so it just kills everybody, and now there's no cancer anymore. So
Right.
you have to be careful how you prompt it. So this guy Roman Yampolsky, he's a computer scientist. His work is on AI safety. He was just on Joe Rogan's podcast a couple weeks ago. I'm going to play you guys a clip for a second
There's the name.
Okay.
about exactly. Just once I get it up, confirm you hear everything.
Yep.
We see it.
Yeah, we see.
Play it.
I cannot say this
We
will
hear.
not happen for sure, but look at our relationship with animals where we don't care about them. So ants, if you decide to build a house and there is an ant colony on that property, you genocide them. You
Right.
take them out, not
Right.
because you hate ants, but because you just need that real estate. And it could be very similar. Again, I cannot predict what it can do, but if it needs to turn the planet into fuel, raise temperature of a planet, cool it down for servers, whatever it needs to do, it wouldn't be concerned about your well-being.
It wouldn't be concerned about any life, right? Because it doesn't need biological life in order to function, as long as it has access to power. And assuming that it is far more intelligent than us, there's abundant power in the universe. There's abundant power. Just the ability to harness solar would be an infinite resource, and it would be completely free of being dependent upon any of the things that we utilize.
And again, we're kind of thinking what we would use for power.
Right.
If it's smarter than us, if it does novel research in physics, it can come up with completely novel ways of harnessing energy, getting energy. So I have no idea what side effects that would have for climate.
Right. Right. Why would it care about biological life at all?
We don't know how to program it to care about us.
And even if we did.
It's so matter of fact.
That's a big one. I mean, I think we could kind of harp on that for a while.
Yeah, but
It probably
I
we
love
should.
that final that conclusion that the AI expert is saying we don't know how to program this thing to care about humans. That is like such a fascinating point at human evolution, that we've gotten to. That there's so much. This is so telling. It's so fascinating and telling about like where we are. Why? Like, why is it that we don't know how to make the AI care about us? There's so many ways to approach that question. Like, is it because we don't know how to program concern and care? Is it because it is impossible to teach the AI to care? Do we even know what it means to care? Is it because we cannot care for each other that we can't also program it to care? That's a very interesting thing. But if you research this is a real problem. This is potentially the biggest weapon, the most dangerous, riskiest weapon humanity has ever developed. And the biggest thing is that unlike a nuke, where there's still a human that has to push a button, right? Here, you're developing something that can fool you, manipulate you, hide its actions, and so on. You're dealing with something more intelligent than you, and you don't know how to make sure that it will act in your favor. And the recent studies that they do in companies like Anthropic and others, and if you saw these headlines, that's where they see that the AI all of a sudden blackmails its creators when it feels threatened. It
could show
hides
you
its
pictures pictures of your
actions.
family and say
It's
something is happening. If you don't do this, then something is
just
happening right
imagine
now.
it
Quit.
can deep fake anything it needs to convince you about anything it thinks will do its, you know. So you're dealing with
It knows every
something.
text message you ever sent, every email you ever sent, everything you've ever searched
Exactly.
for on the internet. It knows
The
every button to push inside of you. It knows
it's
all of your
crazy.
parents. It knows all your needs. It knows all your medical history.
Exactly. And we
It's
don't
very easy
know
to manipulate.
how to make sure that it will care for us. And the AI engineers identify that as the biggest problem that humanity is facing right now, biggest risk that humanity is facing right now. That is such an interesting point in time, you know, just
That
Wait a
seems like
minute.
it's
Caring is a feeling. We have a big problem. It's even bigger than they
Yeah.
can imagine, right?
Yeah.
Because a feeling, a machine can't do anything. It's essentially a paperweight, except for the program that you put inside of it. It can execute a program. So it can use data, right? It can execute this program, but it doesn't have. It's more than a hard problem. It's an impossibility. It cannot feel, right? So how are we going to make it care? Caring is a feeling that stops me from hurting you, for example. So
Right.
is AI really like us in any sense? We're saying like it's a human, it's a better human, it's even more than us, right? But is it human really at all, fundamentally,
Which
when we
begs
start
the
to
question, what's a human? You know, even that's the beautiful thing about this. That's what excites me about this whole AI rapid development that's happening. It's making us indirectly, but it's causing us to ask questions. It holds a mirror to your face. Oh, all of a sudden, this thing can create music faster than you, arguably better than you. It can create art, it can create imagery, it can create whatever, it can write better already, it can probably research better, it already does in many ways, it can study everything you know and much more in all your lifetime and everyone's lifetime, much better, faster, you know. So what's a human? Then what's left of the human that doesn't exist in the AI? And it's interesting that when you think about, oh, wait a minute, we don't know how to make it definitely care for humans, maybe that's the area where we actually find what is it that makes us human, which can't be communicated, given to, taught to a machine, taught to an AI. That's a very interesting.
What is the nature?
Yeah.
If we leave the mother child relationship on the side for a minute, what is the nature of every human relationship? And I'm asking also. I see Annie here, Annie, and Patricia and Lawrence and Alex and Tanya and Beller. Like you can Dewey, also right in here. And guys, let's discuss from the perspective of the wisdom of Kabbalah. what is what are all these creatures that we call humans around us? Like, are they capable of caring, or is everything transactional? Like, am I nice, so you'll be nice back to me? Do I do this so that I'll get fed at the end of the week? Right? Like, do I do this so that I'll be respected? Besides, let's leave like the mom and child away, because there's some kind of natural thing that happens there, or parent-child thing, to the side for a minute. But all human relations, are we actually capable of caring in a non-transactional way?
I think this is the funny point that in the Rogan clip. Roman was in, as Soph said, like indirectly, right? It's teaching us indirectly. He was saying it, for us it's obvious. For us it's, we can't program them to care about us, right? This is how he said it. But I'm hearing it like Asaf defined it, we don't know how to care about each other. And the definition of caring now is going to also be lying down on the table. What does it mean that I care?
Exactly, and this is
The
such
guy with the nuclear. Remember that story? The Russian guy who saved
one?
it. He saved the world from a nuclear holocaust because there was this false alarm on the Russian side. Do you know the story?
No.
There's like this false alarm.
No.
He
Tell it.
literally saved the world from blowing up. The
What?
Russians had put some kind of monitoring system, spread it all over the globe, So if the Americans had sent a nuclear, like
Wait,
some
this is
kind of
what, World
ICBM,
War II? This is
this is Cold War.
uh-huh.
So they had a bunch of systems, and it was all kind of like computer, regulated. And the story is the alarms were going off, and there was like a team in a bunker, and everything was pointing at the Americans are sending all of their nuclear arsenal at us right now, and all the beep, 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 like beeping, everything's going crazy. It came down to this one guy to make a decision. He said, "I just don't think that's what's happening. I'm not going to push the button in retaliation." Turns out there was like a false alarm, right? So he literally saved the world. And I don't know how the whole world doesn't know about that story, but what does it come from? Where am I getting at here is that it's a feeling. Ultimately he was caring about himself, right? He was caring for his own well-being, but it was expressed as like caring for the rest of, and that's the confusion that we're unable to translate into machine code.
I think everything we do is shaped by feelings. Every single moment in our life, even though we behave egoistically toward each other, still there's this aspect of shame that causes me to not wear pajamas to a wedding, that causes me to, if I do rob a bank, at least I explain it to myself. I have to justify that the system screwed me, life screwed me over. And so these justifications, whatever their limits may be, nevertheless shape our life. I mean, Putin doesn't shoot a nuclear weapon for maybe a cold calculation in some respects, but there are these inner aspects of feeling, like you just said, Chris, that are always shaping our every action. And from these feelings, then we start reasoning with our mind. So we're really talking about, when we talk about large language models like ChatGPT, we're really talking about something that not only doesn't think like us, because it's based probably on neural models that are different than how we're really built inside, but it also doesn't have any feeling whatsoever. And I think that's crucial. And I think that's actually the real danger, is that this thing that's about to become bigger than us, more powerful than us, maybe not even in a smart way. Maybe it's more powerful in the way that I can only scoop dirt, but it can bulldoze dirt. But it's doing that with our daily lives. It just becomes really, really powerful, but in a way, and it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, right? It's not a human. It's something that is dressed like a human, and you have a feeling that it's not really human-like, and now it's really powerful. More powerful than us.
I think again, I want to stay on this point, right? About we can't teach it to care. This I can't. It's so cool to me that this is happening now in the world, but I can't find the words to express it. So basically, we can create an AI, and we're very close to it, that can mimic all of our behaviors. It can look like it's really, really understanding you and caring for you. And like take ChatGPT with its language ability, and how people use these language models to create AI companionship apps that people get emotionally attached to. Add to that an android type robot that looks like a human and knows how to imitate and mimic all of the facial expressions and all of the intonation changes of a human and so on. All of these things are in the works now, and they're all converging, and you're going to have that. It's definitely possible. It's just a matter of time. Not that much time also, because this technology, as we said, advances exponentially. So you're going to have something that looks like a human, talks like a human, but there's one thing that it doesn't do, and that's to feel like a human. It does not feel the way that we feel. It doesn't actually feel, it calculates. It doesn't actually...
What is the benefit? So hold on. So
yeah.
What is the benefit of a creature who can feel?
It's a good
Well,
question.
check it out.
What does-
What you're saying, Asaf, what you're saying, Joseph, it'll be like my wife is cheating on me all the time, but around me she comes and does the perfect. She cooks dinner. She says, "I love you." She puts a
Nice one.
hug. So it'll be like that, right? Without any feeling, but all the external actions. And I won't know, I won't feel that. So I think there's a willful, it's sort of like when I watch a drama, a movie, and I know it's a lie. But I'm okay with that. I think that's what you're talking about with
Nice.
the people who are falling in love with AI. It's willful. And then there's the other side of, is it really passing the Turing test of being able to fool us into thinking it's a human, right? That was
No,
the
it can.
Turing test.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It can.
So you're saying an AI that's like my wife cheating, I wouldn't know that my wife is cheating, right? If she's doing all
But
of these motions?
I guess what I'm saying is like this, that I don't know at that level, but what I do know is that, a song can make you cry. When a person who has lied to you 50 times, but comes in and they do this compelling thing, or maybe they start crying or something, and you're like, you have an employee or a coworker and they keep screwing up, but they come in and they cry, you give them one more chance, because once it plays on our emotions, it doesn't matter. It like hijacks, everything
How
else,
many
and
times
we're
have you
all,
said thank you to ChatGPT?
yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
So the situation, Gianni, what I think is like, can we detect if that it's not human? Even I think if we know it's not human, if it plays on our emotions well enough, I think we still won't be able to help, or not maybe us, but a large percent of the population will still not be able to help but to respond to it the way that it wants emotionally.
But can it really play on our emotions? Can a song written by ChatGPT really move you? And I think this just points, and I think the answer is no, because I get student essays.
That's
right?
interesting,
And
because I think yes. But okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I
I
know,
was
we
gonna say yes
disagree.
too, but I don't know.
So-
I need to do we need to do control.
But it's
Okay, if you-
wait, it's
an interesting question.
Yes. What do
Okay,
we mean to move? Keep.
Okay, if you give
keep
me
going.
10 student essays and 5 of them are AI generated, I can tell you exactly which ones are which.
Today.
But in
fact, I
5 years
asked-
from now,
Today.
it will know
Exactly.
every mistake that the kids make, and it will
Yeah,
put
I
those
know.
mistakes
I know. I
in.
thought that was the reason too. So then I asked AI. I said, "Give me an excerpt from a paper written by Einstein and one that's written in the style of Einstein." And I did it with Noam Chomsky. I did it with a few others. I can pretty much always tell.
Today.
So I think there's today, but it's very good. But I think it will be tomorrow as well, because there's something fundamentally different about the way these LLMs are built that is different from how we're built. And
It's
why
true.
I think this is relevant is because we're talking about something that's about to get very powerful and dangerous that is alien. It's an alien that can, start deciding how our lives should go based on really internally alien feelings to our human condition.
Oh, okay, let's take this in another direction. Right? One thing that's definitely going to happen, and it's already happening, is we are going to become more and more dependent on it. The more useful it is, the more we're going to use it, the more it becomes infrastructure. Just like, most people today, you don't enter your car without a Waze, without some GPS system, right? People who learn how to drive, like I always sucked with maps and navigation. I'm the worst examples, but I'm sure Seth, who has more seniority here in this room, you did some driving with maps when you were younger, right? At some point, I assume. Today that doesn't make any
Anyway,
sense.
drive across the country with paper maps.
Right. So today that doesn't make any sense, and not just that it doesn't make sense, this ability to navigate with a map is has been rendered obsolete because of ways. We are going to delegate so much of our decision making and thought and reasoning and writing and creating and thought processing, all of that we're going to delegate. And then the question that remains again is, what's left of the human? What is the human about if the machine can do things more and more and more, better and better and better than us? And so this is a process that's definitely happening. There's a lot of research about this happening right now, saying that we're becoming it's degenerating us and so on. But that's one way of looking at it. Another way is that maybe we are delegating and getting rid of things we used to do. Like people spent their whole lives hunting for food in, many, many years ago. We don't do that anymore, right? We spent hours and hours of our day going to the river, washing clothes. Now we throw them in a machine and push a button. So we're gradually delegating more and more and more. And with AI, it's like in a huge way, this is going to happen. It's already happening. So what's left of the human? And the one thing we cannot delegate, it seems, is to care. That's an interesting, equation that we're getting to. And I think that's what Gianni kind of feels from today's AI, that there is this human feeling, kind of emotional quality. He feels it through the creation of AI. I can tell when something is an AI, but I can also, from my view, my point of view, I'm saying like where it's gonna go. And I think that just like today you cry from a movie, people, at least most people do, and you basically know it's actors playing out a script. You paid for these actors to act in front of you, and it's not real, but it still creates an emotion in you because you have an emotion. Now, the movie and the script and the actors are human, but they can be AI generated, and they can
Also,
generate that emotion in you. I'm sure of it. But
if it was AI generated, though,
Yeah.
stuff it came from eventually. I mean, the seed of the idea always was some human
it came
idea.
from a human. Yeah, exactly. It's just that the AI at this point can't yet create it in a seamless way that feels human. It still feels a little bit mechanic, a little bit
Will Smith
digitally contrived. That you don't feel like But I think I think the more it advances, that's what the trend is showing with images, with videos, with text. It's just getting better and better and better at creating something compelling, convincing for a human. Now. And that's actually interesting. I don't think it makes us inferior. It makes us it highlights what's unique about us, that we are feelers, and that's maybe why you can't create.
Okay, so hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. So we can't say that we are carers, but we can't say that we feel in any
That's a
way
good
that's good.
distinction.
All we can say so far is that we feel. And
Yeah.
that's a different discernment. Just because we feel doesn't mean that we're feeling love or that we're filled with compassion. Just that we are a machine that can feel. We can create machines that can think. We're some kind of machine that feels. So
And that's a very different way to arrive at the next idea, the next creation, or the next word in a sequence.
Good
Large
point.
language models like ChatGPT, they use astronomical amounts of data and look for statistical regularities, and accordingly, basically like auto suggestion when you're
Yeah, they guess the
doing a
next
text
word.
message.
Yeah.
Yeah, they guess the next word based on the statistics, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically auto-suggestion on steroids. That's very different from how we decide what will be the next idea, the next thing, the next creation. We decide it based on a feeling
Yes.
complemented by the intellect.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Our machinery, our human machinery works like mind, emotion, mind intermittently. That's what happens. That system of the emotion doesn't exist in an AI. There's okay. I don't want to take too much time for this but I'll try really fast. There was experiments with split brain patients. in the 60s or 70s, and that's really insane how interestingly this is related to AI, to LLMs. What they found, long story short, is that in those split brain patients, it was a where they cut the corpus callosum because to stop seizures. Let's not get into all of that, but bottom line, some people went through that surgery, and then they
That splits the left and right hemisphere.
splits the hemispheres. Yeah, of course it's very controversial, blah blah, but it happened, and they did all kinds of experiments with that. And one thing and a thing that happened with a bunch of experiments is that humans, split brain patients, they were I don't want to get into a long explanation, but basically what your left eye sees goes into your right hemisphere and vice versa, right? So basically the language center of the human is in the left brain. This means that if you in a split brain patient, if you see something through your left eye, it only gets to your right brain, and it doesn't get to language center. What that means is that people were shown all kinds of images, and then they were asked to explain them. And what happened is their language center gave explanations that are completely detached from reality. And that's the short version of it. And essentially, that's what an LLM, what an AI is doing. It's detached from a feeling, but it knows how to make verbal, sounding language. That's what it knows how to do. And take that and extrapolate that to creation of video, of images, and so on. There's no feeler behind the mechanism that creates the image or the thing, right? That I totally agree with Gianni and so forth. But what I'm saying is, like, in the future, it's going to get so good that the type of stuff it's going to create is going to be so compelling to you. Just like, look
First
at
of all, LLMs are not the future. They're already saying.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
LLMs,
of course.
It's already,
of course,
yeah,
that's
not
baby
the
AI
design.
for what we're talking about.
Right.
But anyway, check this out. So as we were talking,
Okay.
I'm really going.
He's rolling, baby. You can't stop that. You can't stop
Okay,
that stone downhill.
check this out quickly. I just, as we were talking, I'm asking Perplexity, is it true? Which is another AI, by the way. Oh wait, you can't see
blurry.
this. Yeah, now you can see
There
it.
we go.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Better.
It's a bit small. Okay, I'm asking it. Is it true that we don't know how to program an AI to actually care for us, and why is that? The short answer is no. We do not currently know how to program an AI genuinely to care for humans in the way people care for each other. Here's why. And then there's a bunch of reasons here. Lack of genuine emotions, understanding human values is hard, translating these nuanced values into
Because
code
they're
or mathematical
illogical
objectives, blah, blah, blah. The
right.
alignment problem. There's a bunch of things. Bottom line, while AI can mimic caring behaviors and provide helpful support, it does so without genuine understanding or emotion. The challenge
Like
of
a body
programming,
snatching alien.
yeah, the challenge of programming true care into AI remains unsolved because it requires more than just sophisticated algorithms. It would demand a breakthrough in understanding consciousness, values, and emotions themselves. And the bottom line is, what I'm trying to say is, we don't understand ourselves, and this
At
thing
all.
is forcing us, if we want. Why is it forcing us? Because we recognize that if we don't teach it how to care, it's going to destroy us. And this
That's
is a
interesting.
very interesting. That's what I was trying to say. We've been pushed into a point where we're gonna have to study ourselves with this thing, because of this
we
thing.
We built it like we always said within our from our own image, right? From within our own, we built it from within self-concern. And now we're being shown kind of what self-concern is from a completely different angle. We're thinking we care and all, and it's like, what do you mean it doesn't know how to care? Well, I care. It can do things that's good for other people, but that's not the same thing as caring. Caring is like some kind of, you got mirror neurons firing off, and you've got illogical calculations happening. Some things that are not logical. That doesn't make sense. How do you program that? You can't program that. All it is just showing exactly what you said. It's showing what is the human element in all of this. All this, the danger, the AI danger, and it's gonna blow us up. I can see it right now. Just focusing right now, it's bringing us to focus on like what differentiates us.
Awareness.
It's very strange.
Hello, awareness. I don't know if you guys ever saw somebody named Awareness here, but it's my first time seeing Awareness. Hello, Awareness. Awareness put in the chat on YouTube. AI is a mirror, like
Exactly.
equals mirror.
I absolutely, I absolutely agree with
So,
that definition.
so
In many
so
ways,
then
that it's a mirror. Yes, exactly.
so the job of the Kabbalists, we're not building the AI, but we have to build the heart correctly, because this AI is like an auxiliary tool to the heart. And because
Mm-hmm.
the heart of humanity is rotten, so the AI won't be able to do anything but always become racist, always become anti Semitic, always find out how to self preserve at the expense of everything else, because that's the heart of humankind. And I'm waiting for somebody over here to challenge me on that. Um, but we have to make a heart that's loving. We have to have people that are loving towards each other. We have, for example, New York City. The more populated a city is, the more depressed people you'll find there, the more alone people are there. So, what are we doing? The more advanced and the more metropolitan we become, the more isolated we become, the more alone we feel. So, we have to start here with small groups at least, and build these new feelings that don't exist. Like, tell us, people, where do we have, well, Patricia says, will unity save us from AI? So, hey, Patricia, so that's a good question. Let's reframe it. Like, what would the AI be able to do then? And we can go back to what the Kabbalist Michael Lightman talked about 15 years ago. Then, what will the AI be able to do when people are working on love of their fellow man? So then, how does AI fit into the situation? How does this auxiliary tool? It's not an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there as an enemy. It's there as some kind of helpmate against us or with us. And
Right, right. So,
I
yeah, go ahead, Jenny.
No, I could give a quick, simple answer, which is, we'll just start with the fact that what if really the goal of being in this world actually wasn't to create all kinds of scientific discoveries and technology and, literature? What if it's actually something that's supposed to happen between us? What if really that's where the real money is? It's in the connection between us. That there we can discover something beautiful that's really what we've been seeking this whole time. And what if AI can kind of free us from all of those, everybody knows what it's like to have, a boring job where you flip the burger 1,000 times, you do this redundant activity. If we could be relieved of all that, maybe we'll be able to focus.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, if you go back to what our teacher said 15 years ago, which is, it's inconceivable that he even discussed this 15 years ago. This is long before ChatGPT and definitely before AI was a buzzword everyone's using and so on. And he didn't even use these words, but he did say intelligent system, and he was talking about essentially some sort of an artificial intelligence system that will help humans rise in their perception of reality. But here's the thing, this is before we go into that, and maybe we'll read something from those texts from 15 years ago. I want to just try to put what Seth said into an equation. The human is the feeler, the human is the heart. The AI is an auxiliary system that can affect the heart. That's kind of what we're getting to. So it's not just that AI, we can delegate the flipping of burgers and essentially everything that we do in our, in all of the workforce and everything. It's more than that. If we use it smart enough, just like you use a movie to create an emotion in a human, it's just digital. What's a movie that you want? It's a file. It's digital binary code, that you play on a computer. Oh, and you get excited. and you get emotional. What if you use the super intelligence of an AI that has learned that you fed it with information about all people and all of humanity and all of our behaviors and our preferences and our traits and how we respond to things and so on, and you use that auxiliary system to influence the human heart. Now you're in a whole different world. Now you're talking about humans using an intelligent system more powerful than them, because it learns from all humans, not just any individuals, right? That more powerful than them to raise us to our next level. And that's the kind of thing that our teacher was talking about. It was just a burst of
But what does that look like?
Wait a second, but what you just said is the same thing you said earlier, just in different form. The mind serves the heart. We've said that many times on this show. The mind just, the heart has a desire. It has to fulfill that desire. The mind goes into action. How do I fulfill that desire?
No, but the mind also grows the desire.
Yes, but
This
I'm coming
is
from
another
another
thing.
angle.
Yeah, the mind is a servant of the heart, but it also grows the desire. The desire.
It
of
also
the heart.
grows it, but if
It
you
works
can
two
use it a
ways.
different way. But what we're looking at right now with AI, it's basically just a reflection of our heart. What do we want? We want self-service. We want this. If we change the direction of the heart, then that huge mind, that huge machine that we've built, constructed to serve our own needs in the self-serving way, if we change the direction of the heart, then that mind will also change. It's the same tools, like you said. It's the same. It's the same components. It's the same hands and fingers that move and can do whatever it wants to do. It's just the question is, what's the intention? What's the goal that you want out of it? It's the tool that you can use in a different way every time. Yeah.
I don't know how to get to it, but I can see the end here. AI, we need to have some kind of AI, AGI, whatever, but where it's a program, because a program is something that, it's a theory, right? It's a special kind of theory where all questions are answered. And you can't leave any unanswered questions. And this program has to be such that it knows the end of all human interaction, interplay, and development is connection.
Yes.
Defining these terms, very difficult. Probably the most difficult, program. It probably includes all of reality into this program, but it has to, every single interaction, when you ask a question, when it gives a recommendation, everything
it has to have the end goal in mind.
And it has to not violate the laws of our reality, which is that we get to that connection through some kind of free choice. So it can't jump the gun, right?
It has to. It just has to. Check this out. This is our teacher 15 years ago. So again, we can't read the whole thing here. There's a whole document that we've made from this series of talks. Dr. Michael Lightman, our teacher, there was a burst of a few months like that when he was just really focused on it and he talked about it a lot. At the end of a series of a few months of talking about it, it was something like, it's not time yet, but it'll come. We're 15 years later, and now AI experts are talking about this huge AI, artificial superintelligence that's coming, and we don't know how to build it to care for us, right? So he says the builders of the system, and he's talking about building an intelligent system that enables humans to advance spiritually. The system is digital. So he says the builders of the system will have to learn from the writings of Kabbalah how to define precise rulers, efficient rulers, and measurements for spiritual progress, and keep updating the system based on that. And that's going to be the main engagement in building the system, non-stop work until the final correction. And that's how people will find the correct connection between them and advance towards global unification. that's crazy. Like,
you think Sam Altman's on the board?
To think about a Kabbalist saying that, like, in our time, before its time. That's such a it's crazy. It's crazy. There's a lot
it's like
more here.
someone trying to someone trying to describe like a car. They're like horseless carriage. They're the words are like what they want
Right.
to say, and you can see the image. It
Yeah,
just hasn't
the
materialized.
crazy thing is, for us, these words we feel, we get a glimpse of what our teacher is talking about here, because we can feel a little bit of that in our environment, in our Kabbalistic environment, when we come together, based on the principles of Kabbalah, based on this path of spiritual development, and every friend in our Kabbalistic environment is doing this inner work and working towards the goal of this universal connection, this unbounded connection that connects all humans and all of nature. When we do that, it gives us a feeling of what our teacher is talking about here, and it gives us a glimpse into what happens in where humanity is really headed, and how all of these things might fall into place that way. Yeah, but those who haven't felt this from Kabbalah have an opportunity. Let's say a few words. There's a retreat coming up.
Yeah.
And
So we
yeah,
have okay, so the technology, it's, by the way, the comments are really nice coming in on YouTube. That's the only thing I have. I don't have the other broadcasts open, but thank you everybody for writing. We're reading what you're saying. So this technology, hopefully it's clear that the technology follows us. And because the world is guided by self-serving desires, as we can see by everything outside, everybody's just caring about themselves. So that's what this technology will now do. But the technology, it does not have some life of its own that can develop something on its own as we transform, as humanity transforms. And as we said all the way at the beginning, biologically, we transform really slowly. So we need to speed something up. It doesn't mean we're going to grow, a sixth finger or something like that. But in our heart, we can. We can go through a lot of change. And that's what happens in the group of Kabbalists. And out of that technology will also help us speed up, just like with the Neuralink, which will help us to see ultraviolet and infrared. We'll be able to feel and experience a eternal reality, if I could be so bold as to say that. We have an event coming up. Do you have a slide or something you want to talk about? We have an event
no,
coming
let's
up in
just talk about it.
September.
Let's mention it. It's a huge opportunity for anyone who's watching our show, even, and listening to this podcast and maybe haven't yet experienced it. Of course, our students are all familiar with this, but for people who are not familiar, this is a real opportunity to really feel what we're talking about here. If you've been there before, and if you haven't, you definitely should. And even if you've been there before, here's another opportunity to feel this. We are doing a retreat. It's a 3-day event where we are creating the best possible system in which humans can feel connected as one, and the universal connection that exists beyond our personalities and names and time and space. We are feelers. We said that, right? Humans are feelers, where we are actually designed to feel much more than just this tiny world with very limited desires for food, sex, and money, honor, power, and knowledge. There's a desire in every human, a desire. That's the thing that doesn't exist in any AI, right? There is a desire that we share as human beings to know what the hell are we doing here. Of course, and that is, of course, it's covered and clouded by everything around us. But deep down, every human has that desire. What we do in a retreat is we create an environment that helps this desire just jump out in every person. So you can feel it within you very strongly, because we're talking about this, we're studying about this, we're doing all kinds of activities and workshops, and even when we eat together and sing together and everything we do, we are shining light on that desire. And when you start seeing that desire in everyone around you, something beyond words just happens. You feel that this universal desire connects you to everyone else, even if you don't even know them. And it connects you not just to all the people around you, but to the system of reality. It's hard to explain. But that's the kind of thing, that's why we do these events. That's the power of a gathering of a lot of people in an environment designed to focus on that. That's the kind of thing we're creating in a retreat. And if you've been around our channel and our content, and you haven't experienced that, definitely just make sure you do. Of course, you can come physically or virtually. It's a hybrid event. I would definitely recommend to come physically if it's your first ever time to experience that.
I'm going to put a link in the
I'll put some
YouTube
links.
chat.
I'll put some links.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
I'll put some links. Yeah. So friends, check it out. Just check it out. It's huge opportunity. We're making a lot of efforts also to make it happen. You already know.
And any questions you have about
yeah.
it, there's a website on that link that you can ask any question you have about the accommodations, the food, what we'll do there, etc.
Found
You
it.
posting the link, Asaf?
I'm finding it. 1 second. Here you go.
Okay. All right. So, Gianni, thanks for joining us, brother. Very fun to have you here. Very enlightening conversation today. Chris and Asaf, stay safe over there in the Middle East. We love you all. We're giving a big hug. We'll be back next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see you soon.
Wake up from this nightmare we've been facing. Wake up. Tell me, how are we gonna overcome? Wake up. Wake up from the hatred and separation. Wake up. We got to cover it with love. Wake up. Wake up. Tell me, what is happening with our nation? Wake up. It seems our union's been overrun. Wake up. Wake up. We got a sticky situation. Wake up. The time is now to get stuck on love. Wake up. We got to find a new way to love. Call it now together. We've been trying to fix our ways. Please help us change our nature. We want to live in love and unity. Wake up, wake up, friends. We ain't got no time for wasting. Wake up, rise and shine the light of love. Wake up, wake up. Been told the times that we can't hasten. Wake up, let's connect our hearts to be as one. Wake up, wake up. Fill every cup and raise them higher. Wake up, gratitude for what's to come. Wake up, wake up. And feel the friends burning desire. Wake up, brought everything out to the love. Wake up, we got to find a new way to love. We're calling out together. We've been trying to fix our ways. Please help us change our nature. We want to live in love and unity. We're sort it out together. We've been trying to fix our way. Help us change our nature. We want to live in love and unity.